Wie verbreitet ist Racial Profiling in unserer Gesellschaft bzw. bei der Polizei? Wie oft, wann und wo verhalten sich Polizistinnen diskriminierend oder offen rassistisch gegenüber Angehörigen von Minderheiten? Und welche Folge hat das? Für viele mag diese überraschend sein. Schließlich berichten so gut wie alle Black und People of Color, die in letzter Zeit vermehrt zu Wort kamen, aufgrund des gestiegenen öffentlichen Interesses am Thema, das für sie Diskriminierung durch Polizeibeamten zum Alltag gehöre. In unserer heutigen Sendung werden wir euch einen Überblick zur Diskriminierung durch Racial Profiling geben. Meine Gastinnen sind Biplab Basu, Napuli Paul und Moro Yapha. Biplab Basu ist Mitgründer der Kampagne für Opfer, rassistisch, Polizeigewalt, COP und Berater bei ALEX Berlin. Napuli Paul ist Aktivistin und einer der Besitzerinnen des Oranienplatz in Kreuzberg. Napuli hatte 5 Tage auf einen Baum aus, weil ihr Asyl nicht anerkannt wurde. Moro Yapha ist Menschenrechtsaktivist sowie Produzent und Moderator bei WeAreBornFree Radio. In der heutigen Sendung wird auf Englisch und Deutsch gesprochen. Bitte folgt uns in unserer Social-Media-Kanälen auf Nyimas Bantaba TV, auf Instagram, Twitter und Facebook. Mein Name ist Nima Jadama. So, a quick summary in English. So today we will be talking about discrimination through racial profiling. It's another show of Nyimas Bantaba. Bantaba, of course, is an open space where people sit down and talk about everything that affects them in the society. But the focus of Bantaba is actually on migration, women empowerment, and culture. So today, this topic is actually deemed by many necessary, that is discrimination, police brutality, and of course racial profiling, especially towards people of color and Black people. My guest in the studio is a very, very well experienced person, Biplab Basu, who actually co-founded COP and also a consultant Berater with Reach Out to Berlin. I also have Napuli, an activist who actually in 2014 climbed up the trees and lived there for like 5 days and refused to come down because her asylum was not accepted. And I also have Moro Yapha. Moro is a radio moderator with, and also a human rights activist with WeAreBornFree Empowerment Radio. First, my question, so the interview with the show today would be both in English and German. So first, herzlich willkommen euch alle. Danke, dass ihr hier seid. Und meine erste Frage geht an Herr Basu. Warum haben Sie COP gegründet? Was ist eigentlich das Ziel des COP?
Wir haben COP gegründet, um Opfer von rassistischer Polizeigewalt bei der juristischen Auseinandersetzung zu unterstützen und auch eine Awareness in der Gesellschaft zu wirken. Dass Menschen hatten bis dahin, haben wir so verstanden, sehr wenig sich damit beschäftigt, diese institutionelle Gewalt. Und das war, Rassismus wurde nicht im Zusammenhang mit polizeilicher Arbeit gesehen in Deutschland. Und wir haben das als Thema gesehen und deswegen COP gegründet.
Interessant. Und Rassismus ist etwas, was Sie Alltag erlebt und mitbekommen. Die verschiedenen Arten von Polizeikontrolle, auch rassistisch oder Racial Profiling von People of Color sein, oder?
Ja, das ist eigentlich immer Racial Profiling, weil die polizeiliche Arbeit, die sie in der Gesellschaft verbreiten oder die sie als Rechtfertigung benutzen, ist Straftaten zu entdecken, Straftaten zu verhindern, ist eigentlich in dem Bereich schwarze Menschen und auch Migrantinnen und Migranten ist eigentlich nicht der Fall, sondern sie wollen Menschen kriminalisieren. Das ist deren einziges Ziel, warum sie auf der Straße Menschen kontrollieren. Und ich sage, Racial Profiling ist etwas wie unsere Schuhe, die, wenn wir draußen sind, immer mit uns tragen. Und nur werden wir nicht racially profiled, wenn wir zu Hause sind.
Ja.
Also draußen ist es wie unsere Schuhe, immer accompanying us.
Ja.
So, und die Polizei hat als Ziel, schwarze Menschen und People of Color immer zu verfolgen und darzustellen als Kriminelle oder potenziell Kriminelle. Und deswegen haben sie diese Methode entwickelt, Menschen auf der Straße immer in der Öffentlichkeit anzuhalten und zu erniedrigen, zu dämonisieren.
Das finde ich auch shame. Weil für mich zum Beispiel, wenn ich die einzige Person wäre, die immer oder öfter bei Polizisten kontrolliert werde, als People of Color, das fand ich auch shame. Weil dann die anderen Leute gucken an sich als, okay, what's going on?
Yes.
Ist sie oder er ein Kriminell oder wie finden Sie das?
Ja, das ist eigentlich Ziel der polizeilichen Arbeit, dass in der Öffentlichkeit Menschen bloßzustellen und die ganze Gesellschaft sollen diese Menschen anschauen und denken, das ist vielleicht eine Straftäterin oder vielleicht könnte sein, dass eine Straftäterin ist. Deswegen ist es gut, dass die Polizei diese Arbeit macht. Und das spaltet die Gesellschaft in Schwarz und Weiß.
Ja.
Die weißen Menschen werden dadurch ermuntert, okay, wir sind für euch da, so dieses Signal, was die Polizei schickt. Wir sind für euch da und wir werden euch schützen gegen diese Gruppe von Menschen, Schwarze und People of Color. Und das spaltet die Gesellschaft, das hat eine verheerende Wirkung auf unser psychologisches Leben.
Ja. Das ist eigentlich schlimm. Vielen Dank für das. Napuli, you were and is still part of a big refugee movement, a well-known activist in across Germany, of course in Berlin as well. How and why did you get into activism? How did it all start?
Thank you. I just want to remind, you said I claimed the tree because of my personal papers were not granted, but it is not like that. So I claimed the tree against what the German government is doing towards the refugees. So that's why I went to the tree to protest for the right of the refugees. Yeah, I got into activism because I don't like if somebody's crying and I laugh, or if somebody's, like imbalancing. So this is not only here, this is from Sudan. When I got up, when I saw there was no imbalance, that's why I start fighting. And when I came here, I was not thinking to fight because in Germany is, white and green, heaven, let's say like that. But it was something like rural areas that I was going to fight for the, right of others. So this is where I start.
Physically to fight, right?
Mentally, why not? So, yeah, when I got here, I, saw these asylum seekers are suffering, and that's why I have to, go into it.
So, since you got into it, one of the things that actually really get you unknown, especially in the migration political scene, is when you climb on top of the tree, because the migration politics is not actually favoring asylum seekers because their papers are not accepted, and also this protest at Iranian Platz. How were you able to make this thing done. And I'm much more interested in knowing how was life on top of a tree for like 5 good days. I mean, I can't imagine. On top of a tree outside, it's just like being in a jungle, right? Where you're given food, where you're taking care of. How was it like?
I enjoy it because...
You enjoyed it?
I enjoy it. Why?
Okay.
Because it's my right, and I have confidence to fight for my right. No way. That's why I bear all the suffering. You can imagine what was there, up there. I was down, everybody was down, even the birds were down because I was occupying their place. And sometimes I just like, the birds, sorry, for occupying you. And to the moment I said, the tree, take care of me now because I have no enough energy. So you can think of everything there. You can think of the good thing I did. I urinate on top of the police.
Oh my God.
Head. So I was like, okay, you got my urine, because when I say, please go away, I need to urinate, they came closer to block me. I say, you block me?
It means they don't want you to come down or what?
No, because I need to urinate, there. And they are under the tree. So when I say the police go away, I need to, urinate. And then they came closer to block me so I cannot urinate. So I was
You pee on them?
I say, you know what, get it on your head. That's what I remember. They run, Then they run because of urine. So urine were there.
Were you having food? Like...
They didn't. I think he will tell you that because they were fighting that the police or the government don't want me to eat.
Interesting.
So that was the problem.
So that means, okay, they're like, you decide to go on top of a tree, so they're not going to support you. They were not giving you food, and they were not even giving you space to ease. So they just want you to die, right? So that voices like you would not be existing for asylum seekers.
They came with a different, talk. There they were creating actually the board of, political discussions.
Okay.
Yeah? And it was fully my right to go there, no matter how, because I had diarrhea afterward. Because when you don't eat, you don't drink. When you eat something hot, then diarrhea comes. So I had diarrhea, and then the the doctor pronounced or told me that, Napuli, do you know you are going to die?
Oh.
I say, so what? You are going to die. And then they were counting, not even 30 minutes you are going to live. Because my heart started, pumping.
So you didn't eat for 5 good days?
Yeah.
You didn't eat? You didn't have sour?
First of all, I was not ready. I came with a high heel at home.
Which time was it? Was it winter, summer, or?
It was April.
Okay.
Yes, there is rain, cold, mix.
It's flimsy
so
weather.
I came with I have a jacket here.
Yeah.
That was my jacket.
Okay.
When I'm ready, I cannot come with this.
You were not prepared for it. So it just come to your mind and you
I
just
was
came
not
up.
eating and everything. And then when I got angry, that why the political place should not be taken. If the other refugees need to remove their places to sleep, it's okay. But the political places, which is the Sekostan and the info point. So I asked, and then they say, no, there was no anything like that in the agreement, and you are not going to. That's why it took me to the tree and fight for it. And when I do something, I do to the end, So that's why I was not ready, and we start, looking for something to eat in that night, because I was not the only one. We were 6 people up there, because they were asking, Napuli, what are you doing there? I say, I'm protesting. And then they say, yeah, we also protest. That's why and others sleep with me until the following day, the 2. So, but it was very hard. And the strength that I got, it was from the people. You know, the people come, and then I see the children. I say, why I'm crying if the children there under the rain, they are there watching for me. And I remember Patrick was coming and just say, Napuli, he cried and say, Napuli, calm down. They are not worthy to take your life, you know, calm down and just forget. I say, no, I will not die. I will stand for my right. And one of friend also, Habit, you know, Habit was crying, and that broke my heart because was crying and bringing the flowers and all this. I was like, okay, am I already dead or what, you know? So it was very,
like
very...
They were paying tribute to you when you were still alive.
Yeah. And I was like, please don't bring the flowers. I don't know if I died or I don't die or something like that, but the strength was coming there, and also the tree was giving me the strength. And I remember I could even dream. I could dream of my sister who just came now. She's with me right now. And she was not there when I was dreaming. And then something said, Napuli, you are not on your bed. Get up slowly. And when I got up, I was like sliding, actually. You know, like this, I was like, oh. I would have fallen down.
The police were with you all the time?
The police were with me all the time, and the people were talking, you know, saying all the whatever they want. You know, some people come and insult you. Some people were with you. Some people were like offering you something. Some people were like, okay, you know, the police, one of the police, I think, you know, they said they don't speak English, but they speak English. They say, why don't you just fall down and die?
Oh my God.
I was laughing. You know, all this, when you don't take it, because for me it was not personal, it was political. You know, it's like, okay, you are always...
Maybe the police was also
dying.
Maybe the police was also tired, waiting for you to come down so you
were
just
tired because someone was like, how many, you know, how many days is she still going to stay? You know, and someone...
We would cut it there and come back to that, because I'm also interested to know about the outcome, like what happened later. But then let me also give Moro the chance.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us, Moro. You are also so very much active. I follow you on social media, WeAreBornFree and so on. But first, we would also like to know, how did you also get into activism and why?
Thank you so much for having me here. I mean, I'm an activist, of course. I think my activism has something related to my journey, you know. I came from Gambia. I came through this backway journey. I mean, personally, I said we have went through so much in human conditions, you know. I spent 10 months in the journey.
Wow.
In the Gambia, to come to Libya, for some months in Libya in prisons, and all the expectations, and came to Italy, in Europe, with the expectation of changing something, of finding something. So I came and I realized that it's full of illusions, lies and illusions of what we had from home.
The greener pasture is not, I mean, the paradise you thought of, dreamt of, is not
the paradise
really the paradise
I thought of about Europe, it's not what I found. So, I mean, when I arrived, I think in Italy, when I was in the camp, the first months in the camp, I created a Facebook page by then, 2014. I said, I have to advocate something. Something is wrong. Something is missing that is not told to us when we were home. Because when people come to Europe, they always show the beauty side of Europe, you know, the niceness of Europe. And then they never tell us the reality, how they came to Europe, how they gone through, and what is happening in Europe. So I created this Facebook page. I was posting about my experiences of what I've gone on the way. I mean, the inhuman conditions and the treatments and all the expectations, and even about the Mediterranean route, you know, how people are dying in the Mediterranean, how many people are losing their lives, you know, how people found Europe and the expectations, sleeping in the home, just eating, waking up without doing nothing, and then having hopes, you know, about changing something. So this is how I said, okay, I have to change something. We went so much thing, we went so much, we experienced so much, and we have to narrate this. We have to send this information back to people home, because we're supposed to be the voice of the voiceless, you know. So that's why I said I have to stand and I have to find a platform. And having a platform, I said media. Media is very easy to reach people. I mean, young people home, and many people could follow and know what is happening. So I mean, for me, advocacy, speaking, media, it's something that I love, every day I just want to share something. I want to share something to open people's mind, to advocate people about real life, not about, what we had, the illusion, but about real life experiences of what I have.
Speaking of advocacy and of course, trying to make enlightenment on the realities, let's say realities of Europe. Europe isn't greener as we thought it is. You've also been particularly an advocate on racial profiling and police brutality. I read a lot from you, like writing short posts on Facebook. Anytime you had an experience with a police or a colleague of you had an experience with a police. And this last time, I was supposed to be together with you in Mohammed's birthday. And then and all of a sudden I saw Moro wrote a long text on how the police brutalized them to close the party. And I was like, thank God I had shields elsewhere. I would be so mad at this time. Share with us, in short, some of these experiences. How do you feel being racially profiled? Do you think most of the time it has to do with your color?
I think what Biplab has already mentioned, every day, we wear it as a shoes, that we go through every day. So, after arriving in Europe and seeing the differences, how different we are in race and background and color, taught me that, okay, racial profiling and police brutality is something that we have to go through. And for me personally, how to, the ways to get out from it or to advocate it, it's by sensitizing people, by people knowing what is happening. So this is what I do. This is what I told in the beginning, that I love media, because in media I can reach to so many people. What has happened, I can write to them. So since I came into Europe, single racial profile or brutality, police brutality, whatever happened to me, I always love writing it, because people read it, people share it, and it's reached to hundreds, sometimes maybe thousands of people. So for me personally, I know that it's something that we have gone through. It's in the system. It's something that is rooted in the system. In order to cope out of it, I think we have to sow it out. But it is so unfortunate that many of the brothers, few sisters, are scared of speaking out about their problems because of this inferiority that is projected on them. You come as a refugee, first of all, status. You have no document. You are sitting in the lager, or you are somewhere hidden without document. So if you happen to be racial profiled or police brutal, you are scared to speak out. But I think it is important. That's why it is nice that to have Biplab. I worked with him for some years. Maybe we'll come into it. It's nice to have people like him to tell you, hey, your status, legality doesn't make you to feel quiet. Whatever happens to you, come on and reach out and other organizations and report about it. So this is how I use it. It's a daily thing that we've gone through. And when I'm attacked by it, I always try to spread it, to inform people about what has happened. And there are many people, they will report to reach out or report to other organizations. So I think it's really needed to do it like that.
Yeah, speaking of this inferiority that is actually invested in us, I think it's not just from us. Speaking from a personal experience, I used to be very active as well, being on the street demonstrating. Perhaps not on racial profiling, but then, the right for refugees to stay and so on. And I could remember most of the time, my family wouldn't know. They would just wake up and saw me on Facebook demonstrating, and my grandma would call. What are you doing? You are in a different country. That's not your country. They could arrest you.
Exactly.
So for me, I think it also has to do back home. Because you are pressured from your parents, from your family members that, hey, you are not in your country. It's not safe what you were doing. They don't know I'm much more safer to protest here than to protest in Gambia, for example. Yeah. So I think this also plays a great role. Our family plays a great role. Our own self-esteem in us plays a great role. The inferior covers it all. And at the end, you are like, let me just sit and wait and see what will come.
I mean, to that point, I think that's why it's so important that, I mean, it's social media time. If you post, example, you post people back home in Gambia, I've seen you on the streets, you know, I mean, I go on the street every day, I post, people see what's happening. I think it also changes the mindset of people. It enlightens them that, hey, you have a voice, you know. Being a black doesn't mean you are inferior, you are down. Being, I mean, coming from Gambia or from Africa doesn't make you to feel inferior to other person. So whatever happens to you that's against your right, your will, you have to speak about it. And if necessary, go on street. Thank God now, I mean, things are getting better. So many people are knowing what is demonstration. What does it mean by to demonstrate? People could go and ask for their fundamental right. We want to demonstrate. You know, Africa demonstration is different thing. You go on street, police chase you.
Next time you are in prison.
If you are unlucky, you'll be shot.
Yeah, that's a quite interesting thing. Biplab, wir haben viel über Polizei, also Gewalt gesprochen, über Racial Profiling, die eigenen Erfahrungen. In dieses Fall, ich hätte gerne wissen, was darf die Polizei und was darf sie nicht?
Das ist natürlich etwas größer, was darf die Polizei, was sie nicht darf. Das Wichtigste für uns allen zu wissen, dass die Polizei darf mich nicht von vornherein verdächtigen. Ja. Polizei darf mich nicht misshandeln. Das Gesetz sagt, Polizei darf mich befragen, wenn sie ein konkretes Verdacht hat. Und das muss begründet sein. Dieser Verdacht kann nicht einfach so sein, ich habe ein Bauchgefühl, dieser Mensch kann ein Straftäter sein. Das reicht nicht aus. Aber das ist nicht nur die Polizei. Auch die gesamte Politik will, dass diese Racial Profiling ist die Arbeit der gesamten Politik. Deswegen haben sowohl Bundesregierung als auch alle Länderregierungen ein Instrument in die Hände der Polizei gegeben. Und dieses Instrument heißt Anlass- und verdachtsunabhängige Kontrolle in bestimmten Orten. Und diese Anlass- und verdachtsunabhängige Kontrollmöglichkeiten gibt Polizei eine Lizenz, so brutal vorzugehen, so Menschen zu erniedrigen und dämonisieren. Und das ist, was wir wissen sollen. Also wir müssen wissen, dass wir das Recht haben als Menschen, egal wo, ein Recht haben, nicht verdächtigt zu werden, nicht misshandelt zu werden. Und das ist das Wichtigste. Natürlich gibt es bestimmte Sachen, Recht, zum Beispiel, wenn die Polizeibeamten mich auf der Straße befragen oder anhalten und meinen Ausweis kontrollieren wollen, dann habe ich das Recht zu fragen, warum machen Sie das? Haben Sie nur mit mir jetzt vor oder machen Sie das hier mit allen Menschen, die drumherum stehen? Ich habe auch das Recht, deren Dienstnummer zu bekommen. Ich habe auch das Recht, wenn die Polizeibeamten mich misshandeln, beziehungsweise andere Menschen misshandeln, auch zu filmen. Nur in dem Moment, wo das stattfindet, ist die Polizei natürlich viel stärker als ich. Deswegen all diese Rechte, die ich habe, also spielt keine Rolle mehr, weil die Polizei eigentlich alle Rechte mit Füßen treten. Also die achten auf keine Rechte von anderen Menschen. Deswegen zum Beispiel, wenn man Polizeieinsätze, Polizeiarbeit auf der Straße filmt, dann sind sie aggressiv, brutal gegen die Menschen, gehen sie vor. Und deswegen denke ich, es ist wichtig, über Rechte zu wissen, aber viel wichtiger ist zu wissen, als Mensch hast du Recht, von niemandem verdächtigt zu werden und niemandem erniedrigt zu werden. Diese Selbstbewusstsein müssen wir haben. Und mein Anliegen ist nicht nur, Menschen über bestimmte Rechte zu informieren, sondern auch Menschen zu sagen, Du hast als Mensch ein Recht, so frei zu leben, wie jeder andere. Deswegen bin ich auch gegen zum Beispiel sogenannte Residenzpflicht. Residenzpflicht ist eigentlich ein rassistisches Gesetz und dagegen bin ich auch. Und deswegen haben wir diese eine Methode gewählt, dass die Menschen mit finanziellen Mitteln unterstützt werden, die in bestimmter Weise von Polizeibeamten diskriminiert werden, dass sie dann auch zum Gericht gehen können, ihr Anliegen auch juristisch bestreiten können. Das ist die eine Seite. Und die andere Seite ist, dass wir versuchen, durch Veranstaltungen, durch Informationen Menschen zu informieren, was sie tun können, was sie tun dürfen und auch, wie sie sich verbinden können. Das ist auch sehr ein wichtiger Punkt, dass wir uns netzwerken. Ja, vorhin haben wir darüber gesprochen, dass es eine der wichtigsten Arbeit ist, dass wir uns kennen, dass wir wissen voneinander und auch über unsere Arbeit. Ja. Nur dann können wir gegen diesen staatlichen Rassismus vorgehen.
Oh, sehr gut. Ich nehme also ein Zitat von dir über dieses Residenzpflicht. Und meine Frage an Napuli, darf ich das auf Deutsch machen? Diese Frage. In 2006, die beschlossene Asylpaket 2, können viele Asylbewerberinnen noch einfach abgeschoben werden. Zum Beispiel die Residenzpflicht, die gerade also Biplab auch gesprochen haben, wird Verlust wieder eingeführt. Berühren Sie das?
English.
Okay, so the Biplab actually talk about the resident right to residency and so on. And going back memory lane in 2016, there was called this so-called asylum package that was actually decided for asylum seekers, so that the idea of this is that asylum seekers would quickly be deported, right? So my question is, does this, for example, disturb you as an activist, that the whole politics come together and discuss about officializing a so-called resident right so that asylum seekers would be deported? How do you feel? Yeah, thank you.
I was in the parliament when they directly told us about why they give people good shine, not money and package and everything. When we went there, they were thinking we are not, talking sense. We are just refugees, refugees. To just laugh at us, but when we talk sense, they say, why are you talking political? Which was credit for us. And they, with anger, because they were not prepared, to be gentle in this way, they said, we are not giving you money because if you have money, you will send to your people. If you have, what you want, you will not go back. So we need to frustrate you in order to move yourself,
This frustration is actually still going on, isn't it?
They want to frustrate, and then you have to go in, voluntarily.
Voluntarily,
So this is where we said, okay, it's a war. When we said Radioproduzent is a battlefield, because we know our target is also what? There are things that they want to achieve. So either we accept what they want or they have to accept our right, Because if you go back to the Constitution, Article 1, Sentence 1, said, no one should be discriminated or everyone, whether disabled, you are, from other country, sex, or, all this are not allowed by law. The police, or they swear towards this article, which they validate make violence out of it. And also connected to Article 1, which says also the human dignity is what? Untouchable, So if you go there, all these are saying. But for us, we are like, okay, you dare us, you dare our dignity, right? So let's say, when we break all these resident flags, we were breaking by walking, march from Würzburg to Berlin, and also from, bus tour around. We know that we are breaking it, because if you don't break it, which means you are allowed yourself to do it, because they cannot break unless you break it yourself. That's why we were breaking all this in order to be weakened. So when they pronounced in 2013 that resident flag is broken, it's not longer there, we say, yes, we know, because we do it. Me, myself, they want to take me to the court because they catch me every time that resident flag, I don't mind, and then later they say, So what I want to say that whenever there is something you don't like, speak out or break it yourself. When you break it, and then the court also will take over and say, what is going on with this law? Everybody's breaking it. What is it? That's why I say again, deportation one day will be abolished, if you believe me or not. Because when people are deported to, like for example, Sudan, and you come back, some people are coming back, but it is not seen. If you are deported, you come back, you knock out slander beholder and say, I'm back. Will they deport you? Or then it's like, it doesn't work, right? So we have to break it by ourselves. Yeah, that's why we did it.
Deportation is actually going to be another topic for us. I mean, speaking of breaking stuff, I remember at high school, my teacher would tell me, break the rules. If something is not okay, break the rules. And for me, breaking the rules was breaking my cultures and traditions and norms. You mentioned, I would say kudos to you and Biplab Moro, to so many powerful activists that were before us that actually make sure that this residence place, this good sign, not to be able to walk and so on, all are now somehow theoretically not in existence, because you guys were there, you guys fight for it. I think some of us were super lucky to, just adjust stuff and move on. That was quite interesting. So you actually also mentioned in your speech, when this asylum package was discussed at the parliament, I know you were there, so you mentioned that you were there. You mentioned something, and I will quote you. The politicians do not listen to us because we don't speak German. This is why they actually don't listen to us. How do you feel as a victim when you hear such, or when you have such a feeling that the person that is responsible of my rights to make sure that my rights are legalized and are known to me are not listening to me because I do not belong, because I do not speak the language? How do you feel?
May I just,
sure,
if you allow me, it's not that politicians do not speak English or do not understand English.
They do not actually listen to them because the refugees don't speak German.
That's not the case. They understand fully, yes, and they have all the resources to understand. The thing is, they want to ignore. They want to ignore, and they try to say that you do not understand how the society could function. We know. So that's why they pretend. They are hypocrites. They pretend, and they despise us. So we have to, as Napuli and others have done, they have forced politicians to listen and accept it. Sorry, I interrupted.
No, it's true, exactly. And when I said that, they don't listen to us, it's a political sentence, exactly. They understand, even purely than you, German. But when there is something they want to ignore, they say, please speak German. I don't understand. They understand everything because I see, like, for example, police, when they come and, for example, in Bavaria, they catch me there, and then I was speaking, English, and then later I think he was very angry on something that I said, and he spoke English, and then later he reported me like, she said this to me, and then the other lady say, how do you said you don't speak English, how do you understand? So they understand everything, and they just ignore. Like I told you, their target is to take our rights, because Germany is for Germans. If you are not German, if you are not by blood German, you will,
like they say, bio-German.
Yeah, you will still not, even purely. You speak purely, but, still you are not German, because they are saying the blood, German. That's why I feel good that time when they were angry, and then the media said, why are you smiling and the politicians are angry? I say, let them touch the anger that we always angry, So they were touched by that time. And this is what exactly happened, that they, and also the language, when, of course, I know I'm also studied communication in India, actually in New Delhi. I studied communication, and I know the importance of the language. And now I don't talk language because I take it also politically, because actually, systematically they take language politically, to bring the language in, so that, there is competition of language. English is all over the world, so somebody has to be also, one of the things. So they do whatever they do, even they break their, their constitution by themselves. That's why purely, I'm not here actually in Germany. Let's say when I say I'm here, it's like all of us. We feel good that I'm here, I belong here, because when they, the Western world, even Germany, Namibia, they cannot say they are not colony, they are colony too. When they bring stuff of the people, and now the people are following their stuff, and they say, no, go back. So these are the things that we are fighting for, and I'm very happy that I know my right, and I'm fighting for it.
That's so good that you know your right and you were fighting for it. I hope that so many migrants would actually emulate from you to also know about their right from the onset and fight for their rights. That's a good impact too. Moro, you actually co-founded the WeAreBornFree Radio. Going back from your answering my first question, you were like, when you came to Europe, you set up a platform, and there you want to make awareness on irregular migration and the realities in Europe. But then I see that at the WeAreBornFree Empowerment Radio, one of your focus is actually on racial profiling and police brutality, sharing experiences and so on. Why this focus? Do you think that someday something could be changed, or what could be done?
I mean, first of all, I'm a very optimistic person. I'm very optimistic about, especially in times of struggle, because I think, okay, we should not be in the struggle and think that, okay, it just doesn't make sense. We should always be optimistic about it. Something's going to change. As we already mentioned, that resident police has been advocated and it changed. Theoretically, it has changed. Police brutality and profiling, I think it's something that recently we got focused more, because I think we need more campaigns, more awareness about this police brutality, because in most of the times back days, I think some years ago, 3 years ago, Biplab, if you could remember, I came with 2 clients to you. One of them was even seriously beaten, by police, bleeding everywhere. The other one was, also the same situation. And I've also witnessed many scenarios like this, from the boys in the park and myself being profiled, racial profile. So back to what I've mentioned, it's all about awareness, campaign. Whenever it happens, if there is a platform to speak about it, to advocate it, and to let the people know about it, it's necessary, because in most of the time it's covered. That's why personally I am part of media, but I am not supporting those so-called journalists who are coming and taking notes and information about people in the park and so on, because what they needed to publish is unpublished. That is racial profiling thing. So I wish Biplab would be hosting a lot of journalists every time and asking him about how is the campaign about death in custody, how is the campaign about racial profiling. So people have to know that something is taking place in this area or in this society against black people that is covered. So in order to uncover it, we have to spread it. In order to spread it, we need a platform, media. So I think WeAreBornFree is just a platform where every time something happens, that is, injustice out of our will, our dignity, we go and speak about it, and to let the people know. Also, adding on, to let them know back home that Europe is not what they think. When they come here, they will be kicked by police, they will be tortured by police. So they have to be ready about it.
Of course, we will be talking about the topic on realities in Europe. People, you want to add something?
I just wanted to add that this whole thing, what Moro does, is you can call it a counter-narrative.
Yeah.
That is, the narrative produced by the police, as well as the politicians, as well as the established media, is one-sided, that people of color and black people are criminals. And they only show, for example, Gulitsa Park, and it's a big area where drugs are being sold and all black people are drug dealers. So this is the narrative. And if you want to fight injustice, then you have to also have this counter-narrative. And I'm so happy that some organization like WeAreBornFree is there to always continuously produce the counter-narrative so that we and our children can hear this and make up their mind to fight back. And this is what COP also does.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have 10 minutes, and I did like to, I have maybe two questions to you over then to make it short, to summarize it. Biplab, you just mentioned Gulitsa Park. This question would actually go to Moro. In Berlin, when you speak of police brutality and racial profiling, first thing or one of the things that actually came to your mind is at Gulitsa Park. I partly work at Gulitsa Park. Moro, you partly works at Gulitsa Park, Biplab as well. And we see how everyday life is. Every day I open my office, I see like 3 to 4 police vans in front of my office. At some point, there were cameras right in front of our office to really know, what are they doing here? Why are people coming in and out? Police would always come in. We had so many noise. A neighbor called us. You will see there would be, just yesterday, a black person was stopped, check his Ausweis, and to be quite honest, it's painful, right? I have never experienced such, but if it happens to my brother, it happens to me. So I was wondering, like, Moro, in your own opinion, walking at the park, seeing how racially these people have been profiled on a daily basis, a police car would come and you see all of them running. I wondered what they do there. What do you think the politic could do or much better to cope this situation?
I mean, in most of the time, if we talk about Gulitsa Park, it's just a part of, the struggle. Gulitsa Park specific, okay, that's not where black people live. Black people live everywhere. But if we specify on Gulitsa Park, on these brothers who are there, or in my fellow people, Africans or whatever, black people who are there, I think politics needs to acknowledge that something is wrong at somewhere else. Something is wrong. If you go to Gulitsa Park, you see 10, 20, 30 young black men, young, healthy black men standing whole day, night long.
80% from the Gambia.
80% from the Gambia.
Which is so shameful to us.
They should know that something is wrong at this point. They are not doing this on their will and wish. So I think there should be more discovery. If I say discovery, not the way that I don't know, I don't even want to call it the SPD person who went there and said that all Africans have to go home. No, not that way. They have to go in a way to know that what is happening in this sport and to meet the people one-to-one and to ask them of their problems. Why are they doing this? What is happening? Then they got to know the problem. Then they find solutions. This is what I mean, acknowledge. They have to face the people and acknowledge the problems and find ways. It's very easy to find ways. It's just some legal status thing that is missing, I mean, if this is solved, I think everything's going to be fine. Then they would know they are right. If someone is illegal, scared of police, do you think something happens to him would be comfortable to go and report a police to somewhere else? Someone who is scared of a police, who is illegal? They need to be legal and know their rights. And on top of that, contrasted that, I think Biplab, what he's doing, is very important. So we should have many, many more campaigners, many, many more organizations, individuals, legal persons, go in there, approach them, and let them know they are right. And good that you are also there, you know more about legal stuff and things. So what we need to do is tell them, hey, if police come, don't run. You have right to this and this and this. If something happens to you, there's an organization, go and report this and this and this. Then they compile this together. At the end of the day, Biplab, you and your workers, you report this to the government to know what has happened.
Yes.
I think this point is important.
Me and these friends, I think this is one of the depression that they put. If you ask where these people bring the drugs, let's say, are they bringing the drug through the river or where are these drugs, It's kind of take this business, than, giving other people. This is, killing people. I'm not happy to see my brother standing there because his option is that, So this is what we have to fight for it, There are some people, not only drug, there are some people killing themselves, committing suicide, like the Radioproduzent coming because of, suicide. Why people are doing this? I can all taking it back to the system that kills people individually and indirectly so that they cannot say the bloods are in our hands, but the bloods are in their hands.
Ja, Biplab Moro hat erzählt, dass es sollte viele oder solche Organisationen wie bei COP und Reach Out geben, damit wir mehr Stimme haben, damit die Migrantinnen und Geflüchteten ihre Rechte kennen. Ich hätte gerne wissen, was ist eigentlich Reach Out und Sie sind Beraterin bei Reach Out. Was macht ihr dort? Wie kann zum Beispiel ich als Migrantin oder Geflüchteten bei euch benefizieren?
Also jeder in der Stadt, wenn einer von Rassismus betroffen ist, in welcher Form auch staatliche oder individuelle, private Rassismus betroffen ist, kann Reach Out kontaktieren, uns anrufen. Wir werden dann ein Beratungsgespräch haben und entsprechend dann beraten. Aber ich möchte gerne zu dieser Frage Golitzer Park und Drugs sprechen. Ist eigentlich diese ganze Geschichte mit Drogen und Drogenverkauf ist eigentlich eine Methode, um Migrantinnen und schwarze Menschen zu kriminalisieren. Weil Drogen, das, was sie projizieren, so gefährlich, ist überhaupt nicht so. Und was ist das Problem, wenn Marihuana legalisiert wird und jeder Marihuana kaufen kann? Viel, viel mehr Menschen, also viel mehr Menschen sterben durch Alkohol. Das darf man verkaufen in der ganzen Republik. Aber die haben, und das ist ja auch nicht nur in Deutschland, wir sehen, das ist eine konzertierte Aktion und Kampf der weißen Menschen gegen schwarze Menschen. Also ich mache nur diese zwei Gruppen. Und womit können sie machen? Mit diesen Angst. Drogen wird uns unsere Gesellschaft zerstören. Also bekämpfen, Drogen bekämpfen. Und dann finden sie einen Ort, Görlitzer Park. Und alle reden von Görlitzer Park. Es gibt, als ob es nur Drogenverkäufer gibt und keinen Drogenkonsumenten gibt. Und Drogenkonsumenten sind Weiße. Wie viele weiße Menschen sehen wir vor dem Gericht, weil sie Drogen konsumiert haben und deswegen bestraft wurden?
Und es ist nicht so veröffentlicht in den Medien, wie wenn ein Schwarzer oder People of Color sagt.
Und wenn Drogenverkauf illegal ist, dann ist Drogenkonsum musste auch illegal werden. Und diese Menschen müssen auch vor dem Gericht gestellt werden. Aber das passiert nicht. Und die Welt hat, alle Länder, USA vor allem, gesehen, dass diese Art von War against Drug ist eine Failure. Hat überhaupt nicht funktioniert, weil die Intention ist nicht, Drogen zu bekämpfen. Dann hätten sie sofort alle Alkoholläden zugemacht. Aber der einzige Grund ist, der Kampf ist gegen schwarze Menschen.
Der Kampf ist gegen schwarze Menschen. Wir haben 3 Minuten. So, I have one question to you. Each, please, in 1 minute, because we have 3 minutes to go. Napuli, going down memory lane from Oranienplatz, on top of the tree, all this activism was going on from 2016 to here. In your own opinion, of course, I am sure a lot has changed. A lot has been legalized. A lot of right has been issued to refugees. In your own opinion, what has changed from 2016 to now?
I can say in short, there are things changing and there are things also coming up, you know, seriously. So you change here and then they also sit up and do something against it. We are all going against each other, you know. So I can't say it's changed and it's forever. No, even resident fleeing is changed and now they are bringing back. When you keep silent, they bring on the board. So we have to keep fighting.
We have to keep fighting. I hope, Moro, you will also keep fighting. Last question, you also work partly as an intercultural mediator. What is your relationship with people? You just mentioned that you had accompanied someone at the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I talk about Görlitzer Park, I see it as a community. My lovely brothers live there, you know, my community people. So it's kind of community where I have been going before engaging into this or before working at Fixpunkt. So I built a very strong relationship with most of them also through the journey. I mean, I met so many people whom I met on the journey. So we went the same struggle. Despite here being different in the struggle here, the mindset, I'm still connected with them. So I build this relationship with them. I see that we are related, you know, we are brothers, we are in the same struggle. So, I mean, not everyone has this opportunity to be a speaker. So since, I mean, I am a speaker, I speak on behalf of the voiceless, so it's fine. So Görlitzer Park, it's just a lovely place for me. It's just a community for me. I love it.
Görlitzer Park is a community, of course, for everyone that has the opportunity to either walk or Biplab, on your final note, last question. I
think the question you asked, what is changing or do we see change? Yes, I do. I do see change, although I fully accept what Napuli said. The changes that we are talking about it.
Yeah.
Some 10 years back, we were not so vocal. We are talking about it, we are connecting to each other, and the white society is hearing. Yeah. The white society is listening to us.
Supporting.
This is a change. Whether they support or not is a different matter. But first of all, we have to regain our voices. Regain our voices, and we have to force change. And this society will be changed for better by immigrants and black people.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
Good.
Whether they like it or not, there is already a change, and there would be more change. Yeah. The society would be changed by migrant or people of color. From Biplab, that was it for today's edition of Nyimas Bantaba. We had discussed about discrimination through racial profiling. sharing from different experiences. What do I learn from this talk show today? Police brutality, racial profiling is a norm that is being taken by the police by the day. And of course, if we fight more, if the politics do more, a lot will be changed. My name is Nyimas Bantaba. Follow us on our social media or send us an email on nyimasbantaba@gmail.com. It's a bye from me. Until next month, ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sit down and...